Fellow bears, beautiful people, and crazy knife enthusiasts alike, which I am one of those. Alan with Primitive Bear Knives here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Condor tool and knife Mountain Pass camp knife. First task we're going to go ahead and check out with the camp knife is just chopping down a small tree. Let's see how well it does. One of the things I am noticing while I'm chopping this is it does want to fly out of my hand. And it's weird because the machete didn't have that effect, that feeling. But right now, this tree definitely has that feeling. And before all you tree hugging hippies want to give me crap about chopping down a live tree, understand this whole area back here is slated to be pretty much ripped apart. I guess there's some people coming in, clearing out all these trees, and they're just going to throw them in a pile and burn them. So I'm going to get what I need to get first so I can get some firewood together. Which way you going, tree? All right. Took care of that. All right, we'll chop off some limbs on this real quick. Here we are at Wonky Log state-of-the-art testing facility. Got this large piece of wood here we're going to attempt to baton through. I mean, it's got a little bit of splits in there already, so it might work out, but that's a pretty decent sized piece of wood to try and tackle with this blade. So let's see what we can get. Oh, that was a lot easier than I anticipated. And I think it's because it's already got a little bit of those splits in there. Hot dog, hot diggity dog. Batoning wise, it's doing pretty doggone good. Splitting this log down quite well. just blew apart. I can't remember how long this thing's been sitting. I don't think it's been that long, but could be wrong. All right, we'll do this a couple more times. It keeps flying back and hitting my hand. That keeps hurting. Dang. All right, let's do some feathers. I gotta stand up for this. My knees are hurting. Interesting. Despite the edge being less than perfect, it's still doing pretty okay. It feels pretty good in hand when you give it the good old fist hammer grip to do your feathers. But I feel like I want to choke up on it like this right here. And then you can't because there is the edge there. So I almost feel like if there was a finger choil here, it would be a little bit more comfortable. Let's I'm not even using the whole front part of the knife towards the tip. All right, we'll try this way. Putting your thumb up's not as bad either, but I just feel it's a little bit more comfortable to even do this when you have the fist hammer grip on this particular knife. All right, we got our handy dandy fat wood here, and we'll go ahead and get a few feathers of that off of here. We don't need much. And let's check out the spine. Seems like the spine's got a pretty decent edge to it. Should be able to scrape a ferrule rod with no issues. What are you doing, little lady? Playing the tree branch chair drum? All right, let's see. All right, check that out. That worked out. It's definitely got a good sharp spine, so that is definitely a plus. So as a fire starter, batoning, chopping down trees, you know, the works for camp. You know, you got to clear out a campsite, you got to chop down some small trees or something like that. Maybe even as a hunting knife and you got to clear out a shooting lane or something. It works out pretty well, I will say. Even with the chopping and it feeling like it wants to kind of come out my hand as I'm chopping, it's still easy to reposition and index and continue on. So you're not really that concerned with it being a problem. Real quick, we'll do one more little test, because one of the other things you might need to do around camp is carve out a tent stake, I guess you would say it is, just a steak in general. So, and no, not the steak you eat. So let's see, how well can this carve? Yeah, that did pretty quick work of that. So let's put a notch in it up here somewhere. Yeah, put a pretty decent notch in there. Now, if this wood was a little bit more round or square, it would probably look a little bit better, but that's okay. It got the point across, right? Now, I don't know how well it will dig out a bow drill divot, just because it's not exactly a spear point, but let's find out. I guess anything with a sharp point can do it. Guess you can make anything work if you want it to work bad enough, right? I mean, it's getting in there. Maybe if I had a better, sharper tip on it, it would drill that out a little bit more. But as you can see, it drilled it out a pretty decent amount, at least something done enough to get you started on a bow drill if that's the direction you ever wanted to go. And I don't recommend it because I'm terrible at bow drills. So do I recommend the Condor tool and knife mountain pass camp knife? I do. I do recommend it, but I would also recommend outsourcing for a different sheath. If you could find a different sheath for it, whether it be Kydex or another form of leather, and if you could find it for about 50, 60 bucks, then I would say you're right on the money for a very good camp knife. Now, of course, Condor has their hit and misses when it comes to QC, so you got to keep that in mind with Condor. Of course, you're not always going to get a blade with the perfect edge with Condor, so you just got to keep that in mind as well. But I do find it to be a pretty good budget option. I put that in quotation marks because it's not necessarily budget friendly, but it is on the lower end of the spectrum when it comes to prices of knives. And Condor really is a gateway knife. That's what started out my whole entire obsession with knives, was Condor tool and knife Kephart. And then from there, it just went downhill and I went nuts. So I do recommend the Condor Mountain Pass camp knife. So anyway, this is Alan with Primitive Bear Knives. I want you guys all to take it easy and enjoy your life.